the 25th day of January 2018. Welcome to the program. This is Business Today, and I'm your host, Dennis Sigoa. In this particular day, I will be talking much about the NRM 32, the celebrations that will be taking place in Arua tomorrow. So we'll be giving you an insight of the views of people of Arua regarding NRM 32. Besides that, we'll be having the sights and sounds of Arua to show you what exactly has been happening there in the last 3 decades. I was there personally and interacted with very, very many people, and they were thankful of what the government has done for them. And there are very key areas that you really see there's much development, and that is like the area of infrastructure development, water and sanitation, amongst the others. But before we go that, normally in this program, we tend to look at what is transpiring across the continent and sometimes across the world. So I'll start with a story which I think is important, and I looked at it. It has been a trending story across the border, and that is about the issue of insecurity in the city of Nairobi. And the Kenya police, the IGP of Kenya, was out there, and he said that people should be careful when they're moving on the street, so that they should not show off their new phones or carry laptop bags carelessly, because thieves are on rampage. And why I'm using this one is because I know there are very many people from Uganda who tend to travel to Kenya for business matters. So, and some of us are carrying the most expensive phones in this world. So you really have to be very careful with that. That is one of the biggest stories that is trending. Yeah, sure. So we'll be going straight to the stories that made news in the course of yesterday and part of this morning. And the first story will be the Prime Minister. It is from the Airtel Uganda has officially launched a countrywide mobile broadband coverage. This upgrade in technology means that all Airtel Uganda subscribers will now access high-speed internet wherever they may be in the country. The launch of the countrywide mobile broadband coverage was graced by Dr. Wakana Rugunda, the Prime Minister of Uganda, and he lauded Airtel for that initiative. He, however, highlighted the issue of reducing the cost of internet, because everyone, currently there are very many people who are buying smartphones and they're using them to do their work, but they keep on complaining about the issue of the data being very expensive. And of course, one of them is Airtel. I've met so many customers of Airtel who keep on complaining that they load Airtel, they get data, and in a few minutes it's done. Actually, even before they use it, 70% of it is done. So hopefully they'll heed to the advice of the Prime Minister. Let's look at this story.
The advancement in network technology is a big step towards digital evolution that continues to grow both in Uganda and world over. The government of Uganda, on its part, has taken on several projects meant to expand and improve the information, communication and technology sector. Prime Minister Dr. Wakana Rugunda applauded Airtel Uganda for undertaking such a big infrastructure investment that will directly benefit millions of Ugandans.
Improved access to the internet should be used positively and not abused with unproductive content. Improved access to mobile internet should help in improving productivity, should help in cutting down red tape, and also, as I said, in enhancing the service delivery. I also take this opportunity to call upon other telecom companies in the country to follow suit and emulate this example of expanding their services, making their services more reliable and more affordable. Let me also use this opportunity to appeal to government departments, agencies, ministries to embrace the use of IT services for the many reasons and advantages.
Airtel Uganda Managing Director Vijay Shomasheka said the network upgrade will contribute to Uganda's economic growth and social development.
What we see today and what opportunity and potential it gives, I think sky's the limit. I think with just basics of internet available today, we find everybody has an online identity, online communication, online personality and online business.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Vincent Vajire, noted that there was a marked reduction on data costs. What remains now is to reduce the cost of communication devices, such as the smartphones.
We are confident that this contribution that Airtel has done today will enable Uganda as a country to improve its GDP as well as Human Development Index.
But Airtel Limited is a leading global telecommunications company with operations in countries across Asia and Africa. This report was compiled by Michael Mgera for UBC News.
You've heard from the Prime Minister, and I think it's a very pertinent issue because if this is the digital world, it's an era of technology, and surely technology should not be as expensive as it is in Uganda, especially if you have to access data services. There are some countries, I think in Europe, I think a country like Norway, where access to internet is a basic need. I think that's where we're heading, and it can never be a basic need in Uganda if it remains very expensive. So this is also an advice to the telecom companies out there, like Airtel, MTN, and the rest, is that they should keep it low. It has been a very big concern. I think they have received these concerns before. And we move on to another story, and Kampala Capital City Authority has closed all shops and imports, all shops that imports and sells shisha products in Kampala suburbs. KCC operation is to implement Tobacco Control Act, which was passed in November 2015 and came into force in 2016. Operation started from King Fahad, that is in Kampala, on the streets of Kampala, and they ended up with the Acacia Mall in Kamocha. Let's have a look at this story too.
City Authority has closed down shops dealing in shisha products like flavors, pipes, containers around Kampala suburbs, starting with King Fahad, Transnile, Kalungi Plaza, where they found shops selling shisha products. The Director Public Health and Environment, Dr. Okello Ayen Daniel, says this was done with the purpose of cutting off supply because smoking in public places is prohibited. The law adds that selling and consumption of tobacco in Uganda is prohibited, and the law does not allow smoking in public.
We also would encourage the public that smoking shisha is not healthy and it's actually not a good practice.
This is not the first time Kampala Capital City Authority closes down such places in recent times. This is aimed at ridding the public of tobacco and substance and other abuse items. Story compiled by Susan Nagawa for UBC News.
Yeah, I'm sure the shisha smokers are now worried. And I think this tobacco control bill should be implemented, because lately you realize most of the youth are into shisha smoking. You go to some joints in town, you realize that is a trend. And it's tobacco, like you've heard, and the consequences of tobacco are dire. I was watching a documentary last night, and it showed this scientist was showing how much the side effects of tobacco to a human's body. He said, if you smoke tobacco for a year, what was coming out of the lungs was enough to cause some very serious diseases. So KCC has been out there, so hopefully they'll be helped by the society or people. They can do such a thing, but implementation might be a very big problem. So they really need support from you and others, from me, you, and others out there. So I think it's critical, because I'll also pick it from a point. It's like I really tend to read about the regional news, and this is also about what I was watching the other day in Kenya. Actually, I think the country of Kenya, they banned shisha completely, and there was an outcry from the traders who say they had stocked shisha, whatever, in billions of Kenyan shillings. But the government said the side effects of this supersedes your economic benefits, and therefore the ban is already on. So for Kampala or for Uganda, we have started, and let's hope. I'm not trying to push for the banning of shisha, but of course it's economic, which goes to the sellers and people who have bars and stuff like that. But also there is that health effect, which is also a very big issue and should also be considered. We move on to another story, and this is about Uganda National Bureau of Standards. It has, in the last half of the fiscal year 2017-2018, they have managed to stop 16 million substandard products from being imported into the country. In addition, UNBS seized about 232 metric tons of non-standard goods worth 1.7 billion Ugandan shillings from the local market in the last 6 months. This is in a bid to protect the health and safety of Ugandans. The government body has developed 254 standards so far, mainly to support the implementation of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy, says Dr. Ben Manyundo, the ED of UNBS. He was addressing the media at the media center and giving an insight of how their performance had been from the beginning of the current financial year. Let's have a look at this story.
Escalate the goods which are locally manufactured are certified in order for them to get some benefit from government procurement. So 254 standards, new standards of goods in Uganda were developed by Uganda National Bureau of Standards. We believe that contribution will help the business community now input in the government procurement. Then on the issue of consumer protection, our market surveillance team was in the field trying to get products that are not conforming to the various standards. And there were a number of seizures, 232 metric tons of substandard goods worth 1.7 billion were seized from the market. And again, as someone asked, what are these goods? Now we are finding that increasingly these are largely imported products. And the number one imports are electrical and electronics products. That is now our number one imports, followed by mechanical and building materials and gas appliances is number two. Number three, I think it is food and food products, and then we have cosmetics and others coming. So most of those seized. If you come to our offices in Goyogerere, the whole warehouse now is full of these seized products, but some of those have been destroyed, while others are waiting the court process and further investigation.
Yeah, that is the Executive Director, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, UNBS, speaking out about their achievement, their successes and challenges in the midway, the current financial year, that is 2017-2018. And I interacted with him personally, and he said that they're really trying to do a great job, but they are understaffed, and they're urging government to at least boost their, to add more, to allocate them more resources, to enable them get down there. You know, there have been very many concerns about substandard goods in town, some of them actually not only in town, but across the country. So they really need to have enough foot soldiers to ensure that what is in our market, what is being consumed in our market is legit, it's of high quality, high standards and stuff like that. So what he said is currently they do have a staff like 200, if I'm not wrong, or more than 200, and 2,500 or 200. I'll have to go and find. I'll have to find out from where I wrote. But he said they are understaffed. Actually, they are about below 50% their capacity, which I think it's very bad. It's really not good considering the fact that the country is too big. So hopefully in the next financial year, because currently this financial year is already halfway, so in the next financial year, we are hoping that government will heed to their plight and allocate more resources which will enable them to step out there and do a great job. Like I said, we'll be going into a short commercial break, but before we go into a short commercial break, I'll just have an insight in the middle of the program, because at the end of the year, we kept on talking of 2017 about safety on our roads. I'm sure there are very many people this morning who are hitting the road, heading to Arua and other places. I know it is accommodation is an issue, like we said earlier on, and it will feature in the next couple of minutes, because I had an insight with a hotelier about the state of West Nile hospitality industry. So what I'm saying as a part of the Business Today team, here at UBC is that drive safely. If you want to arrive safely, drive slowly, take your time, have some stoppages, and if possible, if you're 2 or 3 people know how to drive, you can switch the steering, someone else can take it. So straight into a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll be looking into the inside of the West Nile hospitality industry. I had an extensive interview or an exclusive interview with Joseph Lukwago, the manager, Desert Breeze Hotel in Arua town.
Parade Commander, Senior Officer Chef Ali.
The 32nd NRM Victory Anniversary will be celebrated at Boma Grounds, Arua Municipality on 26 January 2018, noting that Uganda's liberation struggle is a significant contribution to our present and future development.
On January 26, 1986, the NRA fought its way into Kampala and the military junta fled. A new leader was sworn in as president.
Nobody should think that what is happening today or what has been happening in the last few days is a mere change of guards. This is not a mere change of guards. I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
And UBC's radio and TV network will broadcast the event live to you on 26 January 2018 from Arua.
Big up yourself.
Yeah, greetings, massive. Everything I man is lying with the more representing.
We're nice and smart. Go down, wicked man, go down. AfroJam represents Africa's finest reggae vibes TV show. One thing called the Jam Rock Vibration. Lock up for the toppest them roots reggae music. Lovers Rock.
Hello, can you hear me?
Dancehall reggae entertainment. Only on UBC TV Kampala. You know, miss out the toppers from N Classics, Dub Billboard Topper Shots, War Premieres, Artist Prophets them. Along with the one Africa's toppest reggae vibes dub selector. The one Gaza emissary woman Gashim DJ. Blaze up on party nice. Kaboom. Award.
Yes, the program you're watching is Business Today on this 25th day of January 2018, on the eve of the 32 years of NRM celebrations that will be taking place in Arua City. Actually, I'm saying Arua City is because the residents of that town are saying they have really seen tremendous infrastructural development. Everything is moving on smoothly. The proximity to South Sudan and also DR Congo has really enabled the economy to grow very fast, and they are actually pushing for their town or their municipality to be upgraded into a city. Let's hope we are going to hear about it from our leaders tomorrow, if at all they are going to listen to this and probably agree with the leaders. So we'll be going into an insight, and this is about, actually it's about 20 minutes interview with Joseph Lukwago, the manager of Desert Breeze Hotel. Desert Breeze Hotel is one of the biggest in Arua municipality or in Arua town, and it gives us an insight into the entire hotel hospitality industry. And one of the key points I remember in the course of the interview is when he said there is really need of more investment in accommodation because they don't have enough. And quite often, like now, he was assuring me that for people who are rushing there this morning, expecting to get that high-end accommodation, they'll be in trouble. Let's have a look at this.
Good afternoon, UBC. My name is Joseph Lukwago. I'm the operations manager of Desert Breeze Hotel. We are glad to receive you here for the first time because I've been receiving a number of other presenters, kind of, but UBS, I think this is the first time. So we'll come here. This is the Arua, and this is Desert Breeze Hotel. We opened up here in 2011. So we are roughly, how many years are those? From 2011? 7 years in existence. Yeah, so far so good. In 7 years we have managed to reach where you can see how the place is. Yeah, we've tried all what it takes with our proprietor, Mr. Oluma Michael. He has done a very wonderful job for the region as West Nile. Actually, we are an example of the others because we are much younger than some other hotels. But at least we have done a lot of contribution to the hotel industry. In particular, West Nile, in the West Nile region. So I must say we are doing well, and people have liked us. We are very proud of the public because they have liked us. I think working hand in hand with God, we've managed to prosper. We are lacking. We still have a lot of challenge with the accommodation in the West Nile. And actually, I would advise the hospitality industry in Uganda, most especially the tourism board, to support the hotels in West Nile, because we have a number of guests, tourists crossing the borders. You know, we have bordering. I mean, like we have borders like 3 times. Like we border with the DRC Congo twice, and then Southern Sudan. So we receive a number of guests because there are so many tourists crossing, and you know, being that we have the biggest refugee camp, they say in the whole world. So that one also it really orchestrates the travel of the non-government organizations like Red Cross, like UNHCR, and some others to come here and do that work of the refugees in the camps. So we have so many guests coming here. Actually, what happens is, when you are like coming to West Nile, you need to book your room at least in a fortnight. Yeah, so that you are safe. You are safe. You also give us some chance of arranging for you, because what happens if you book like in a week, yes, you may have it by chance, but definitely we shall have problems here, because almost all the time these hotels of this kind of level, you find that you cannot have a room. So we are not saying that you know, some people when you talk like that, you say, you guys, you're okay now, you are in the business. Yeah, but what happens as an industry? We are not comfortable. We are not comfortable because you must you find that we disappoint some guests. Actually, when you come thinking that we are going up country, we shall find the room, you will not find it. So they come here when they have nowhere to sleep. They say, you try for us, but how would you try? How would you try? Because we use the systems. We use the first come, first serve. Yeah, standards. So even if you are a big person or somebody who is respected, we cannot chase out someone from the room and we give it to you. No, we say, sorry, but let's try. Let's try for you maybe with our colleagues and see if we can find a room for you. But actually, it's a very big challenge. And therefore, I advise the support bodies, like the government, maybe, people who the Ministry of Planning and do those kind of things, and economic development, though we have it, I think. So they should plan for Uganda, not only West Nile. They should plan for Uganda, because Uganda is now attracting a number of tourists from all over the world. Yeah, because of so many features, tourist attractions that we have in the country. So it's like we have not yet done a good job to improve the tourism in Uganda. The job is still pending. Yeah, those who still remember when we hosted the Queen, Chogam here, people were rushing to build hotels. Some of them even collapsed because of the speed we used. Well. We don't have big challenges, only that we are a growing town. Yes. As you know, a baby, just when the baby is growing up, comes on learning things, new things, what to do. So the government has tried to do some work for us, like sensitizing people. A number of workshops are taking place here. That's why we are ever busy. A number of workshops taking place here, organized by the government, and people are actually coming to learn what they didn't know, and they are doing. I mean, I can see the job is being done very well, and I think very soon we shall stabilize. But as for now, the biggest challenge would be the construction of new structures. We need a number of hotels. Okay. We need a number of hotels, and we are working together as a hotel industry. Actually, I would love to have the standards. Say, for example, what I have here, yes. I want it to be with my colleagues. True. Yeah, so that when I'm like proposing where to take my guests, they will not complain of, say, for example, the staff were bad. There was no customer care. The bed sheets were dirty. You know, that kind of arrangement. So we should have almost the same standards. Mm-hmm. So that means we need to have a collective kind of effort to improve the town, yes. and West Nile as a region. Okay. Yeah.
So from the time I entered that gate, they have been hearing a sound of a generator or something like that.
Yeah.
So is that, tell me, is there a problem of electricity here? And how much does it affect you if that is a problem?
This is a very serious problem. If actually the national leader can be listening to this and even viewing, power is the most expensive aspect we have in West Nile here, because there are suppliers. There's a company called Wenereko. It is trying, but what happens is it's not satisfying the demand of power here. You see, you will have power like from 7 okay. to around 8:30. It goes off. The whole day you have to run the generator, just like as you hear, yes. It's now running. Since 8 o'clock, power has not been on, and it will come late in the evening. So it becomes almost useless. Yeah, because you find that now I have workshops, I need power during daytime.
To run the projector
yeah,
and stuff like that.
And then it comes back when the day has gone off. And actually, how does it help me? So it's very expensive. Power here is a very big problem. It's a very big problem. They have to do something for us. Yeah.
So, and where do you see the prospects of course, you've been in town here, you've seen the infrastructure developments, you can see the roads and stuff like that. Do you think in one way or the other, it has helped improve the image of this municipality and also brought close the dream of it being upgraded to a city status?
Yeah, a number of structures are coming up, and actually the residents have tried. They are trying their level best to see the city coming up. I've seen a number of buildings coming in, and I've seen like businesses coming in, like supermarkets, like arcades. Now, I've seen, like yesterday is one I saw that has just opened up, you know, and there is a kind of a promising future for the city to prosper. Yeah, there's something good that we can see coming on.
And maybe lastly for me, it's about you earlier on talked about you having a capacity of about 42 rooms. I can see there's another building that is coming up the other side.
Yeah.
So what is the outlook of 2018 as far as Desert Breeze is concerned? Do you expect to have some 44, 42 or 50 more rooms added on your stock or stuff like that?
Yeah, we so far the rooms we have, say for example, ordinary rooms. Say we have some executive rooms and we have some deluxe rooms. But we have a structure that is being, like we are constructing. We are looking at royal shoots. Say for example, we have been having a number of demands.
Yes.
There's some guests who come, they would like to stay with us for some time. And our rooms are too small.
Yes.
They need somewhere to sit. If he wants to cook for himself, he cooks. If he wants to receive some guests,
studio
it's apartments, kind of. So we are looking at a capacity of 100 rooms altogether. The 40 and we are looking at 70 coming on the other side.
That is in 2018?
Yeah, 2018. If God wishes. Yeah.
Of course he wishes.
Yeah, so that's what we are looking at. Actually, this is because of the pressure. You feel sorry. You feel sorry for the people. People come when they have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of trust in us.
Yes.
And when they reach here,
they get disappointed.
Not because we want them to get disappointed, but we have nothing to do. There are very few rooms here. So we try to work with our colleagues, and sometimes we end up maybe taking them to a guest house. But what would you do? Because someone has come, he's here, he has to sleep, he has to eat, and you know, that kind of arrangement. However, it's about...
Yeah, that is an insight into the hospitality industry of Arua municipality. And you've heard from Joseph, that is Joseph Lukwago, from the manager of Desert Breeze Hotel, one of the high-end hotels in West Nile. You've heard what he has said is that they really need more investment. They are calling on to the government to support them in one way or another. We'll be going to another short one, and this is now from a citizen's view regarding the economy of Arua, what they think where it is today. I was there and I was disappointed that power kept on going off and on, and generators, the generators are really making noise on the main street. Let's look at this and listen to this gentleman, and he talks about the state of the economy of Arua town.
We get a lot of power fluctuations here in Arua. You realize that our main power supplier, Wanreko, is not consistent, is on and off all the time. And that's why you see in all the corridors in Arua, you get generators. And of course, you know, it is too costly, especially it affects the machines. As this power goes off, we find it affects the machine, it becomes too costly. So our cry is that is only one. If we can also be connected to the national power grid, that will be the best thing that, that this government can do for us. Because we realize much as they worked on Nyagak, it is not also helping us so much. Yeah.
So how does it, this power fluctuation, how does it also affect the earnings, people's pockets?
Yes, of course it does affect our earnings. You'll find that especially in the offices where we are working, machines keep collapsing because of these power blackouts and what have you. And you'll find that you spend a lot of money in repairing these machines. And of course at homes you'll find that since there's no power, but at the end of it all, you'll still pay. You'll still pay a lot of money to consume power. But one area where I see the Arua people advancing to, in most of their homes, people are now getting to acquire solar sets, where in any case when record goes off, people are able to access power, access light through the solar system. Yeah.
So now we'll be having the NRM at 32 celebrations in Arua. Maybe which message we want to pass as a resident of this town to probably the powers that be of this country regarding the Arua town and what you want it to be?
Yeah, one development that is underway in Arua town is the construction of the Arua main market. And there's no clear sign since when the former market was demolished. There's no clear sign when the activity is going to resume. And our people, our vendors are uncertain about when this activity is going to resume. You'll find that at the new site, many of our vendors are struggling to get places. And there's a lot of congestion. You'll find that I will really request that the government should expedite on the process of constructing the new market, such that we get Arua city organized in a way that will be able to attract many more investors to come here. You'll find that Arua is growing, economically businesses are booming, but there's no clear sign of we getting maybe things like industry, factories coming to Arua. So these are things government need to tap in and see that the place becomes really a city. Because if Arua becomes a city and there's no clear sign of maybe development in terms of industries, now we have a very good road network right from Moraba, right from Vurab to Oraba.
Yeah, that is Arua economy at a glance. That is a citizen's view of what, of how their town is, or how their municipality is, and also some recommendations to the powers that be. And that's what he's saying. He really wants things. They really want to be connected onto the national grid, because power is a big problem, and you know power runs the economy. If you don't have electricity, then that simply means your economy will stall. And they really want to see industries. That means Arua, from his concern, you look at it, they don't. Arua doesn't have a lot of any factories. Actually, I know they have Leaf Tobacco Company. That is the one that produces cigarettes. I think that is one of the biggest there. So they really want something to be done. I think that will be very, very critical. I'll be signing off briefly, but as I'm about to sign off, there's one thing that I'll put across is that, like earlier on I said, people are traveling. Most of you are planning to hit the road. You have to drive safely. For the people who are remaining at home, please keep on updating your, keep on calling, finding out how people are traveling, your family members are traveling. We want this celebration to be safe and people to travel safely and back home safely. We don't want to hear that there was an accident in Karuma or in Pakwach or in Nebi or in Moyo or in Noya or in whatever. I can name all the places or the towns on that road. I thank you for being part of business today. I've been your host, Dennis Sigoa. Calvin will be hitting the screen soon with entertainment to, at least for you to flex your body a bit. And of course, so basically, before I step out of the studio, I'll be leaving you with the sights and sounds of Arua, and you can see what is there, and it's actually sights and sounds of business. Dennis Sigoa, have been your host. Thank you for being part of the program.
Genge